Hello guys, welcome to this video. In this video we are going to take up a classic project by Brad Traversy of Traversy Media. What I do is that I just go back to the the classic projects I did as I was learning JavaScript. Of course this video is not for total beginners. So there are certain things I expect you to know already, all right? For example, creating the index file and the JavaScript file, the JS file, you should know that by now. If you don't know, this video is not for you. Then, as I don't have any new ideas, I just go back to the old ideas and make them better. Sorry for the traffic noise, all right? So I'll post the link to the original video from Brad, from Traversy Media. You can always go there and tell him I sent you. Give him some likes for the video. But I won't explain what the project does. Please just go there, go to his video and watch it, and you understand what is going on. So in his own, he used all these things we are done in HTML. For example, here, all of these things. So these are done manually. So of course I will tell you how he did it. But now in our own, we are going to have a lot more names. Here there are just 12 names, all right? In our own project, in the enhancements, we are going to have a lot more names, and we're not going to limit ourselves to just A, B, and C. We'll do to Z or Z, depending on the type of English you speak. Then imagine you have 10,000 names and you're gonna type all of them individually like this. That will be a nightmare. So what we are going to do is, that's why I called it filterable 2.0. This is my own version of it, so don't worry. So what we are going to do is to use DOM manipulation to, in fact, tell JavaScript to do everything for us. All right, the heavy lifting will be done by the browser, not us typing all these long things as Brad did in his own project. So thank you so much. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Now I'm going to paste the head section. All right. As I said earlier, you can always go to his channel and watch the video. All right. But I will just do pasting, copy and paste, and explain what each line does. Not every line, of course, but there are some of the lines I expect you to understand already. For example, these ones. All right. Now this one is important because this is materialized CSS. He got this from. You get this from. You just go to Google, then you type materialize on the search bar, then it will lead you to a website where you get this, materialized CDN, sorry. So to lead you to this website, then you copy this and paste it here. This is the CSS. This is it is the framework he used. This is just a kind of a competitor to another competitor to Bootstrap. We're done with that already. Now let's move over to the body section. All right. I am a very bad typer. That's why I won't even bother typing all these things. I'll just paste it, all right? If not, this video will be 10 hours long. All right, so let's continue. So inside the body, we have div with a class name of container. Then inside that one, we have, inside the div with a class name of container, we have h1 an h1 with a class name of center align. This is a materialized framework. This is for materialized framework. All right. So the inner HTML is contacts. Pay attention to the word inner, the phrase, or yeah, I don't know if it's a phrase or a word. Inner HTML, right? So the content is contacts. Now let's save and make sure everything is working correctly. All right, good. So let's continue. So inside this div, we have the input. It has a type of text, ID of filter input, placeholder, search name. So let's see if it's working. All right, this is the search field. Okay, so we'll now head over straight to the header section. The header, the A, B, and C. So that one, we'll put them inside inside a UL tag, of course. So it said UL is the ID of names. class with a class name of collection with header. This is from materialize, of course, so don't get it confused. So we're not going to do any styling. Materialize will do it for us. Okay, now we're going to do the next one. So this one in the UL we have the LI. Of course, LI always go into the UL. So the LI with a class name of collection header, and inside that LI we have H5 with an inner HTML of A. Pay attention. I always use it in case you don't know what it means. Inner HTML. All right. So all these things we are doing here, we are doing it manually using the JavaScript, using in the HTML, sorry. But in our own version, in the enhancement, we do it using JavaScript. So pay attention, because if you do not get what we are doing here, you will not get what we are doing in JavaScript. All right. So let's continue. We are now going to supply the names. Still under that one, still on inside the UL, we now have the LI instead of collection header. This time around, what we have is collection item. So pay attention. Collection item, collection header. Don't get it confused. If you get it confused, you've missed the point entirely. Let's continue. We supply the other names, of course. So, all right. So, as you can see, collection item. Then inside it, we have a with href of a hypertext reference of hashtag or pound sign. So it means it's not going to go anywhere. So these are the names. So this is an anchor tag, and this is the inner HTML of the anchor tag. This one, this A tag is inside the LI. All right. So this is for the A section. Now I will do the B and C sections. All right. So just go under here. All right. So C as in C. So here it is, collection header C. Then collection items, Cindy, Cynthia, Clarissa, Chayam. Then the B section also. You have Brandon, Bob, Benson, Brian. All right. So let's visualize and make sure everything is correct. All right. Okay. Now let's continue straight to the JavaScript. All right. Because oh, right now it's not going to do anything. You can type as much as you want. Nothing is going to happen. So let's move forward. So before we go over to the JavaScript, we must first of all connect this one to this one. All right, connect the two together. So we simply go to scripts, script source, JS. So you just, this is the path to wherever you stored your own file. All right, I called it filterable app.js. So now they are connected. All right, go straight to the JavaScript. Already, I have already we've done this already. This one is variable UL. So we are going to select the unordered list, the UL, or the ID of names. So get element by ID name. So just get the UL element, then also get the other elements, that is the input element, the search field, which is this one. So get this one and get the parents element of all of these ones. All right. So let's continue. So the next thing we are going to do, or first of all, once we get these things, these values, what are we going to do with them? Maybe put them inside a frying pan, pour some oil and cook them. Oh, no, we cannot, of course. So we have to compare them. All right. So what we are simply going to do is to get something from here, then compare it to whatever is inside here. So we have to make a function for that to happen. So this function we are going to use, we call it let's call it filter, filter input or something. No, not filter input. Let's call it filter names, as Brad did. So here is a function. So const filter names. So here we are going to create this function. There is no default, there is no function in JavaScript called filter name. So we have to create our own, just as Brad Traversy did. All right. So what's this function going to do? First of all, once the user types here, we are going to catch that and do something with it. But then sometimes the user can use, maybe he's typing with the caps lock on. So in case that happens, we have to catch that also, because JavaScript is case sensitive to avoid unnecessary headaches and errors. So we first of all, whatever we get here, we first of all convert it to uppercase, that is to capital letters. All right. So, uh, so say let filter values be assigned to filter input dot value. Filter input is this one. So what is the dot value? Is whatever you type here. For example, the JJJJ here is the filter value, is the value of this search field or this input field. So we convert it to uppercase or to capital letters and store it here. Okay. Now let's save. Let's continue. So so once that function is called, then we are going to go through the UL. The UL doc, that is simply go from here. This is the UL. All right. Of course, you should know that by now. Then go through it and all of these things. Then what are we looking for? We are looking for the LIs with class name of collection item. So this is LI with class name of collection item. So it's going to ignore this one, but collect everyone that has this collection item class name and store them inside the LI. All right. Now we have a list. This one is a list. I think it's called a node list. So we have to loop through all of them and work with the contents. Now to loop through them, we are using, or he used, the for loop. So you say for, this is the for loop. Then once you loop through each item, then get the elements that has the A or the anchor tag and store them inside the A variable. All right. Simply go through them, then collect all of this. Collect all of this. And store them inside here. Okay. So depending on the iteration, the iteration mean the iteration simply means for example, the current elements. All right. So you start inside this A, this variable called A. Now, what are we going to do? What exactly are we looking for inside that A? Because it's not going to help us in any way. So what we are looking for is, that is the next thing we are going to do, is to compare. So it says a.inner.html. Now that inner HTML has come up again. What is the a.inner HTML? For example, in this case, the a.inner HTML is this name here, Brandon. So assuming it says Brandon, so Brandon will be converted to capital letter. Then index of filter value. Index of filter value is whatever you type here. So compare Brandon to whatever you type here. If Brandon, let's say BR matches with B, if you type BR here and it matches with BR of Brandon, it will return a value that is greater than -1. If it doesn't if it doesn't match, it will return something else. That's why it says else. Okay, so that's what index of means. So index of means if this one matches this. If it matches, it's going to return a number that is greater than -1. So if it matches, simply the li will simply be, that is the parent element. The parent element of this Brandon, this one, the a tag, all right, is this li. So the parent element will be displayed, which is display block, or you simply remove this. Remove this block. It's still the same thing. It still works. All right. So if it is not found, if there is no match, then the li will be display none. If you know anything about CSS, display none simply means do not display the item, or do not display the element. You understand? So it's very simple. That's how it works. Very simple, as simple as that. Simple as ABC. All right. So let's test it and see if we did it correctly. Oh, it's not working. God, let's see. I know the problem. It's classic schoolboy mistake. We didn't call the function. Let's correct that. All we have to do is simply to go outside the declaration of the function. Here we declare the function, all right? Then we did not invoke it. So go outside it of the function, then call the function. This is where you invoke the function, all right? So filter names is it. So let's try once more. So AB, okay, now it's working. Thank you so much for viewing my own explanation of it, even if I took a lot more time, but at least I did some more explanations. All right. So now let's move over to the enhancements. So in the enhancements, the browser is going to do everything on its own, but the browser is not smart enough to generate the names. Okay. So we have to supply the names. Okay. So I did some homework, did some research, got a lot of names. We are going here. So what we are simply going to do is supply the names. All right. So this is some names I got from the internet. So I put it inside this time around I use const. All right. So const simply means you are not going to change the content. So we put it inside a variable called name list. Now this is just a block of text. It's not going to help us in any way. No. So because what we are trying to do is to make them like this. All right. So this one is not going to help us in any way. So what we have to do is to first of all split all of these things. We split them into individual names like York, Francis, Fiona, like that. So we simply have to invoke dot split method, the split method on this name list. So let's call it const splits name list assigned to name list dot splits. Name list dot splits. All right, since it's a method or a function, so we'll do this. So for the split to work, we have to put the space. All right, the what is it called? Oh my god, I always forget the name of this thing. The quotation, is it the quote marks or something? Now let's see what is inside. Console.log split name list. So over to the browser, inspect. Now to the console, we have an array. All right. Something is wrong here. This is not what we want, of course. It's split. What's going on here is that it's splitting them just in individual letters. That is not what we want. So in order to solve that problem, just add a space here. Now let's see. All right, exactly what we want. Savannah, Hannah, Elizabeth, Audrey. So definitely like this, we have the individual names well split and well parsed. All right. So let's continue. We have to get the English alphabet. All right. We have to get the A, B, and C some way somehow. All right. So uh, here's a code that does that. Let's go down. So of course it says make a list of A to Z. So English alphabet, we saw it inside the what's it called, a variable called English alphabet. So the length is 26 because we have 26 letters in the English alphabet, and of course it's going to be a string from car code A dot car code 0. So don't worry about this. Just copy this thing and in your code editor. All right. Now we have the English alphabet. Let's see what we have. All right, you see, from A to Z or Z, depending on the English type of English you speak. Okay, so let's continue. All right, so the next thing we have to do is to loop through this list or this array. All right, so what we are trying to do is basically to do the A, B, C, the sections. All right, so we have to loop through this the English alphabet array and fix them where they belong to. All right, so that's what we are going to do. We have to loop through each of them. This time around, we are going to use the for loop. So simply English is the English alphabets dot for each. So here we create another variable called English alphabet. So remember, this one has an S here. All right, the name of this variable has an S here, and the name of this variable is just a singular. So we use it this way so that it will be easier for us. All right, so just type what you see on the screen. So English alphabets dot for each. So for each English alphabets, for example A, what are we going to do? So that's what we are going to find out next one. Next. So let's continue. Sorry for that noise. For each English alphabet, what are we going to do? That is to say, in each iteration, we simply create an element. It says document.create element. What element are we creating? Li. So it says create li element and store it inside the variable name called the variable with the name of li element. Also, we do the same thing for the h5 element. Basically, we create these elements. All right, we create the li element. Sorry, we create the li element and create the h5 element. So the next thing we are going to do is to fill them up and do some other things. All right, so we create these elements and put them inside these variables. All right, now let's continue. So once we create those elements, as I said earlier, what are we going to do? Simply the h5 element, first of all, dot inner text. All right, dot inner text. What is the dot inner text? The h5 element here, the inner text is B in this case. All right, so we are going to do the h5 dot inner text will be the current iteration of the English alphabet. If it is A, then here will be A. So it says put each iteration in the h5 element. All right, okay, let's continue. Now the li elements dot class we give the dot class list is collection header. So add class to the we add a class name to the li element we created earlier. So once we create this one, then we add this to it. Add this collection item class name, which is from materialize the CSS. All right. So we are going to add that class name to the li elements we created earlier. So the li element, what are we going to do with it after adding the class name? We simply put so we said li element dot append child h5 element. So the h5 element we put it inside the li element. So we said put the li element into the h5 element. So what we are doing is simply where is it? We put this one, the h5, inside the li, just as we did. That's why I said that time you should pay attention to the what's it called, the end in what we are doing in the index, because we are going to do exactly the same thing in JavaScript, but in a different way. Okay, but somehow they are all the same thing. So put this one inside this one, put that one inside the other one. That's it. So let's continue. So after all said and done, this unfortunately the thing is still hanging somewhere because we've created all of these things. What then do? We put it inside this one, the UL. Okay, so ul.append child, the li element. So we now put the li elements inside the ul elements. Okay, the list, which is the li inside the ul, just as you do in HTML. All right. So let's save and see if it will work. Yeah. I know it won't work. So what is going on here? Let's see. It says uncut reference error, cannot access the UL before initialization. Very simple. What is going on here is this. Here we declared the UL. Here's where we selected the UL. We declared it here, and we are doing the append child here. So it's not going to work. All right, because we are trying to append you are trying to append this one inside this one before creating it, while we have already created it here, but this one does not see it. You understand? So what we have to do is simply cut out this one, then take it up here, then paste it. Let me Okay, let's see if it work. All right, let's see. Okay, now we have A, B, C, and just as this one. All right, good. Now let's move straight to the names. So remember, the names are inside this inside this array called split name list. All right, or maybe I should have used split name array. It's still the same thing, just like in JavaScript they prefer array. In some other language, I think in Python they prefer list. So, but they're just the same thing anyway. So it says split name lists dot for a. So we are going to do the same thing, almost the same thing we did here. Loop through each of the names and do something with them. Now the split name lists dot for each. The cats. I'm sick and tired of these cats, honestly. But I love cats anyway. So split name list dot for each. So each name inside the name list or the split name list. All right. Each name inside here. This is a variable. Initially, this thing confused me. I'm like, where is this one coming from? It was later I found out that this is just a variable. This is another way of creating a variable inside the function. All right. So once we have the names, what are we going to do with them? We are simply going to do what we did here earlier, but this time using JavaScript. So here we did every name that starts with A went to the A section. Every name that starts with B went to the B section. So the same thing we are going to do here. Every name that starts with A will go to the A section, D to the D section, G to the G section, L to the so and so forth and so on. All right. So we have to do some comparison. We are going to use the if method. Okay. It's not hard. It's very simple. So if name at car at to uppercase is, so what is this? Name, this is the name. So for each name, loop through each name. So for a particular name, if the first letter is the one that is car at or character at 0, index 0. So which means the very first letter. Remember, JavaScript, yes, JavaScript is 0 based. It starts from 0. All right, everything starts from in a list or in an array starts from 0. So let's say, let me do something. All right, let me just pause the video and do something. All right, so now console log francis.car@. Let's say the name is Francis. Okay, now let's see what we are going to get. Says English alphabet not defined. Sorry, I have to fix a little problem. Okay, the problem is that I should have done this one. This split this for each should happen inside. This is what is called variable scope. Is beyond the scope of this video. Variable scope beyond the scope of this video. So we are going to talk about that in a later video. All right. So I should paste it inside here. So let's see if it's going to work. So I've corrected it. Now the car ads, don't forget we are console logging this one. So Francis.car at 0 will give us what? Gives us an F. All right. So let's try another name. Let's try Travis, or let me just copy one of the names here. So what do we have? A. So car at 0 simply means the very first letter. All right. So if the very first letter of this name converted to capital letter is the same thing as the current iteration of the English alphabet. Remember, this is still inside this one. Okay, still inside this. Still inside this. Okay, the English alphabet. Okay, if it's the same, then let's create a. If it's the same, create a. Sorry, create elements. What are we creating? Li elements, just as we did in the past. So now we are dealing with this one. So we create an Li element. I want to do it this way so that you're not going to spend so much time on this video. So you create an Li element and store it inside Li item. All right. Now the Li item dot inner HTML will be this. What is this? What is this? How do you get there? So let me demonstrate it. That's why I said you should have paid attention in the beginning. So simply go into this one. Remember, this is the inner HTML of this one. All right. So just get the A tag, copy it. Sorry. You copy it, paste it here. But this is a bad code. This is a wrong code. All right. Let me remove all of it. Okay. No. This is a bad code. So let me go back. So first of all, we are using what is called a string literal. So simply go to the key that is below the escape key and beside the key the key of number 1, the number 1 key, and it is above the tab key. All right, so it is called backtick. Just do it, tap it twice, or press it twice. Then inside it, you simply paste whatever you copied from here. You paste it inside. Now in this name, this here, this is where the name is. Remove the name, then type $, then opening brackets and closing bracket. That is the curly brackets, of course. All right. Then simply type name. Let me do it like this. Okay. You see, it's very simple. So this is the inner HTML. So simply, this is the inner HTML of this. All right. So don't get it confused. Now the class list, we are going to add a class list, which is collection item. This is the collection item. All right. Now we append it to the UL just as we did in the past. So that's it here. Just simply put it inside here. Okay. Now let me save it. Cross our fingers. Let me cross my fingers and see. I hope it will work. Cannot read for of undefined inner HTML. So let's. Okay. Where? Okay. I see where the problem is coming from. So let me go back here. Let's take it entire copy. I see where the problem is. The problem is that here is the opening tag. There is no opening tag here. Sorry, this is the closing tag and all that. Okay. You see? This is not how it's supposed to be. So let's do it again. Let's remove this one, paste. All right. This opening tag, these tags we are not, I forgot to put them. So the abe, simply remove them, remove the abe, then hopefully it will work this time around. Excellent. Aha, excellent. This is the one we got from HTML. Huh? Now this is the one we got from JavaScript. You see, we have a lot more names here. Imagine typing all of these things inside the HTML. It's gonna be a nightmare. All right, this is it. Okay. Now let's see something. You see, there are some. Well, now how powerful this one is more than the other one. Not really powerful anyway, but of course you get what I mean. For example, the U, inside the U there's nothing. All right, there are no names here. Okay, I think there is another letter. Okay, the K also. Now let's see why this one is better than the one that Brad did. Okay, so let's say we have a new name, K, K, King, Callan. Now let's see if it will appear. All right. Now let's try the U, the letter U, Ulysses. I don't know of any other name. Uzi, no, Ugo. All right, Ugo. Aha, I see. So this is much more powerful than the one than the first version. That is filterable 1.0. Now filterable 3.0 or 2.01 or something. This time around, we're going to have another input field. So you from here, like here, you type in the name directly from here. All right, it will store it inside what is called a local storage. Okay, that's what we are going to do when next I have the time to do it anyway. So let's go first of all do some cleanup. Now inside this one, let's remove all of this. All right, let's delete them all. So you simply have the UL. So let's see if it work. Excellent. All right. So thank you so much for giving me your time. The video is interesting. I hope you learned a lot. Thank you so much. And also a big shout out to Brad. Brad is so good, man. Anyway, thank you. Goodbye. See you next time.